The Vanity Fair cover drama. In May 2005, the 5 main cast members of Desperate Housewives posed for the cover of Vanity Fair magazine, as well as each actress getting their own solo section within the magazine. Although the cover may look like a standard photo, this photo shoot has gone down in history as being one of the most dramatic and tension-filled shoots ever. In fact, on the cover itself, it even says, "You won't believe what it took just to get this photo." Vanity Fair published an in-depth article inside the magazine itself, explaining what happened during the shoot, which included tantrums, storming off set, and explosive confrontations. And this article, of course, caused quite a stir with the readers at the time. So I'm going to go through exactly what happened according to Vanity Fair's own article. So the shoot was apparently on a tight schedule and was supposed to run from 9 AM to 4 PM. Eva Longoria accidentally showed up 2 hours early to set due to a mistake by a publicist, so she left to go and sleep for a few hours instead. The article's author then said that ABC, which is the network that Desperate Housewives was on, said that there would be a minimal number of publicists and personal assistants on set. However, the article's author describes it like, quote, unwelcome apparitions, they appeared one by one. And some of them were saying that it had been a, quote, tough week and nerves were raw between the ladies. There was then a man who in the article is referred to only as, quote, the enabler, who was employed by ABC as a publicity shoot coordinator, but his job was to basically make sure the actresses were happy and do whatever they say. The enabler apparently said, quote, whatever you do, do not let Terry Hatcher go to wardrobe first, because apparently they were concerned that Terry always got the best clothes. And Terry was also not allowed to be in the centre of the photo. However, Terry was the first person to arrive on set because Eva was still sleeping, so she went to the wardrobe department first to pick out her outfit. And apparently the enabler shouted, quote, you've got to stop her. But Terry did get there first, and they also found out that Terry had apparently consulted with the shoot stylist a few days before the shoot anyway. The other ladies then arrived, and things seemed to be going fine. But the enabler said that apparently Eva Longoria had sent him a text message saying, quote, everything is not fine. The ladies' outfits for the shoot were 1950s pin-up style, but the enabler was, quote, furious because the network didn't want them to wear bathing suits because the network didn't want the show to come across as, quote, trashy. But all of them ended up in bathing suits except Terry. The enabler apparently was purple in the face and could, quote, barely control his rage. And the real drama started when it came time for the group photo shoot. The publicists were told to leave the set and wait around the corner because it's protocol for these types of shoots to be a closed set. The original shot was supposed to be that Eva was on the lounger and Felicity was leaning against it on the far left. Nicolette was supposed to be on the chair on the far right, then it was Marsha and Terry who were next to her. But when Marsha saw that Terry was next to her in her bright red outfit, she apparently, quote, exploded, grabbed her bathrobe and walked off set. Marsha then apparently yelled at the enabler and said, quote, get your effing ass over here now and do your effing job. Marsha was then told that the enabler wasn't allowed to come on set due to it being a closed set. And Marsha apparently responded saying, quote, I don't care if it's an effing closed set, you get him over here. Terry apparently just stood there and tried her best to work with the situation, and the author of the article questioned whether Terry knew the rule that she was not supposed to be in the centre of photos. The photographer then suggested that Marsha and Nicolette should switch places, but Marsha said no because she didn't want to sit on the chair. So Terry instead agreed to take the chair on the far left of the photo, which meant that Nicolette was in the middle between Terry and Marsha. After that, everyone seemed to be happy. But when some clouds caused a short delay, presumably because they were affecting the lighting, Terry apparently walked off set and, quote, got into a tearful, heated conversation on her cell phone. There also seemed to be tension between the enabler and the photographer. Apparently the enabler kept standing behind the photographer and monitoring him, and when the photographer asked a different publicist to back off, the enabler snapped at him and said, quote, "Do you know who you're talking to? A vice president of television publicity." However, the biggest irony of this photo shoot, and all of the drama to do with who was standing where, was that this photo was a bifold, meaning that half the photo was on the front cover and the other half was on the back cover, and if you open the magazine out fully, it then shows the full photo. And because Terry was on the far left of the photo, that meant that when the magazine was folded, she was actually in the middle of the front cover, which is exactly what they wanted to avoid in the first place. They then did the solo photo shoots with each of the actresses, and all of them went well except for one. Marsha's photo was of her posing next to a topiary bush in the shape of Michelangelo's David, holding some garden shears. However, the topiary had a penis, which is the same as the original David statue, but Marsha was not happy about that, and her publicist said, quote, "Marsha will not come on set if that penis is in the topiary." So they had to remove the penis from the topiary, and then Marsha agreed to come and take the photos. During the shoot, they were using a fan to blow Marsha's skirt up slightly, but Marsha had chosen to wear a garter belt and panties rather than petticoats. The original idea was to blow her skirt up just a little bit to reveal a bit of her panties. But the vice president of publicity shouted, quote, "Stop taking that picture. I'm not leaving. You're going to have to pull me off this set. You can see her underwear." Things then apparently got so bad that the head of publicity for ABC had to be called away from his weekend leisure so that he could come to set and calm things down. It was later revealed that they decided that this would be the last photo shoot they would ever do with this cast. They then finally wrapped shooting at 7 p.m, which was 3 hours later than scheduled. And when someone said that they had got some nice shots and everything ended up great, the enabler apparently said, quote, "That's what you think, my actors were effing miserable all day." After the Vanity Fair magazine came out and everyone had read about the on-set drama, ABC then released an official statement which said, "While negotiating certain elements of photo shoots is standard practice and was part of our coordination with Vanity Fair, this shoot simply did not go as planned. Because of this, our talent were made to deal as best they could with a situation not of their making. This one isolated incident does not define these women or their relationship." People also speculated that the fact that the photo was arranged in such a way that Marsha was on the back cover may have been a way for Vanity Fair to get revenge on Marsha for being so difficult on set, although this is just a rumour and is not substantiated. And so, in general, it became very obvious that there were real issues and a lot of tension between the actresses, and the Vanity Fair article was not exactly that complimentary towards them as a whole. And as a result of all of this drama, this photo shoot went down as one of the most infamous photo shoots ever, and gave us an insight into how these actresses interacted with each other off camera. But there were even more explosive issues yet to come. Stick around and find out what.